In this episode, we get a duel between Gakuto and Ranze. Now, if only it were under better circumstances, because Ranze wants to leave the student council. Hey there, my name is Rex, and let's discuss episode 41 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens as things start off with getting a little taste of what's going on at Goha. As Mimi and the president, both of them are presented with a new plan. We don't see the details of this plan, but supposedly it has something to do with Goha, maybe even officially recognizing rush duels, as supposedly there are maximum monsters being printed in newer sets, or at least in some of the newer card packs. As these are monsters specifically for rush duels that were created by Neil, and then by Yuga, and then of course by Asuna. So there were only 3 maximum monsters in existence, and on top of that, 2 of them are gone now completely, and it was only Neil that had them before. But we don't get much time to think about this, as we're presented with Ranze wanting to quit both the student council and the Sougetsu style duels. And that ends up presenting the main conflict for the episode between Gakuto and Ranze, as, you know, he obviously doesn't want her to leave the student council and even the Sougetsu style duels. However, this allows Luke to potentially become the new vice president of the student council, and, you know, that makes for a fun little B-plot as Luke and Kaizo are running around the school preparing for his takeover, you know, very prematurely, as, you know, of course, all the power is going to Luke's head, and even Kaizo. I think both of them actually make a funny pair for this little comedic B-plot, as they're having the entire school painted blue to look like drag ears. It's funny, although you know that didn't end super well with the last time something was drag ears colored with all the curry. But regardless, with the main conflict, both of them are dueling after school, Gakuto and Ranze, as this would supposedly decide the fate, or supposedly decide whether Ranze stays or leaves. And it's a pretty good duel overall, because I think that, you know, both of these characters being very well acquainted with each other, and again, even being dual practice partners, they both know each other very well, and they know each other's decks pretty well. So there are a lot of good counters that they each have for each other. As Ranze even has this one trap card that would negate the effect of one of Gakuto's monsters and reduce its attack to 0. Pretty good card. I forget the exact requirements for it, but that stops Gakuto on his first turn with Yameruler, and then eventually ends up stopping his Yameruler later on. As a lot of the dual conflict is kind of presented in that you know, we at least knew that their family, Ranze and Renosuke's family, had been more, not that they have been servants, but that they kind of had that servant role, and that's something that supposedly Ranze doesn't exactly want to continue. And you know, just kind of seeing how even more Ranze eyes manifest throughout the episode, which is funny. But it's not just in a way of like romantically. It seems like it spreads to other delusions, as supposedly, and coming from Renosuke, what had happened is that she had seen herself as a dramatic main character, even reminiscing about things that never happened, which I think is pretty funny, utilizing that, you know, rather than just having it for like, oh, it's all just romance. It applies to other things, the Ranze eyes, which, you know, it's a funny little sound effect too they have there. But I really like this duel though, because I think especially with Gakuto's new monster that he ends up summoning, which is a big dragon and not a ruler, not Yameruler or Yameruler, it's Ice Zark, but it does still have synergy with his deck in that, you know, it can special summon monsters and special summon back out monsters, and that it gains attack for every monster with 0 attack in his graveyard, which is, you know, basically his whole deck aside from his 2 boss monsters, basically. You know, save a few monsters here and there, but aside from, you know, Yameruler, Yameruler, basically every monster in his deck has like 0 attack. So this thing ends up pumping up to, you know, high attack points, and that's how he's able to win the duel. And I think that that being the monster that he summons that beats her, it not being, you know, a type of ruler card, and on top of that, you know, Ranze was surprised by that as well. It's like, what, it's not a ruler, as, you know, she was spending most of the duel making fun of them, or kind of making fun of his cards, and just terrible puns. But just having this whole, like, you know, kind of a like master-servant kind of relationship and dynamic kind of being shaken up a bit, as, you know, in that having that be the card that Gakuto uses to defeat her, it also kind of, I guess, helps contribute to what she was feeling in that. And, even though he wins, she still decides to leave. And, of course, he honors and lets her do that. But he still is regretful, in that he didn't see her feelings earlier, that he didn't understand, what she was thinking earlier. And so she leaves. And so I guess that means that Luke now is the vice president of the student council. But, yeah, kind of unfortunate. Oh, on one hand, it's another win for Gakuto in terms of duels, right? But I think that means Ranze now has not won a single duel on camera or, in an episode. Let's see, because she lost to Galleon, and then she lost to Renosuke, and then now I think this is the third time she's dueling, and she lost to Gakuto. So that's kind of, unfortunate. No wins for her. But at least, Gakuto's winning some, because before he had lost 2 duels. But now he's back at, 2 wins. So in terms of, everyone keeping track of, the wins and losses for the series, I guess that's what's going on. But she ends up leaving, and I think it's also crazy because we get the little, various little end bits for the episode. But the one for Ranze specifically, the little stinger at the end is apparently she's joining Neil and saying that, she's in his service. However, he's it doesn't seem like he's flat out rejecting her, but he says something along the lines of, "This isn't Providence," or "This isn't my Providence." So what exactly she's doing there? How exactly she knows Neil? Because I don't think she's met Neil. She probably knew about him because, for one thing, the duel between Yuga and Neil, that was seen by basically everybody. But the fact that she knows he's there, and in terms of, Neil's relationship with Goha still, what exactly that is, because, if they're printing maximum monsters, supposedly in the packs, wouldn't they need Neil for that? So I guess he might be helping with that. But, it's real odd. But now, of course, this basically being the episode that's setting everything up for this arc. And, even afterwards with Luke being confronted by his sister with all this, with all his abuse of power, that leads us then into apparently an announcement from Goha that comes from, I forget what this character is called, but it's another one of the characters that's, it's not Chika, and it's not Sorako. That's another one of these little transforming things, which is ancient pottery. So where exactly these things are coming, these aliens or this other species is coming from, I have no idea. And with the episode that had Chika in it, right? I had said I was a little confused of whether it was Sorako or whether it was a new character Chika, but I guess supposedly it's a new character, and this one's also probably a new character. I think the big thing is that when everyone's watching, Roman's like, "Oh, is that what's Sorako doing there?" And then Kaizo's like, "Oh, what's Chika doing there?" But Yuga's the only one, and we know Yuga is just very observant of everything. He's like, "Who's that?" So he knows something's up. He knows this is a completely different person, completely different alien or whatever species. So hopefully we'll finally get the answers for that, because I guess if they're all different, they've all got different shticks going on, whether they be flying saucers, drills, or pottery. is pretty funny. But she's apparently with Goha as she announces that there's a Rush Duel tournament coming up. So now we finally get this thing of okay, so I guess Goha is officially acknowledging Rush Duels. If they're printing maximum monsters in packs, if they're holding a Rush Duel tournament, that's probably part of the whole plan that's been put into motion behind the scenes. So if we're actually finally getting a legitimate tournament, as opposed to the Rush Duel tournament that was supposedly going to happen in last season, but ended up being, squashed by the Machine Cavalry Club. Now, if it's an official Rush Duel tournament put on by Goha, then I guess it's probably actually going to play out for a good portion. It's probably a ploy to end up getting, all the Rush Duel fans together in some way. Probably a way to get to Yuga. Is, no way he and his friends aren't going to enter this tournament. But if we actually do end up getting, a legit tournament arc in the series, thumbs up. I'm ready. I'm ready for this tournament arc. But again, last episode was, more of a character-focused episode, good for Roman. This one was still, a character-focused episode on Ranze, but I think there were just a lot of details in it that are, setting things up for the next, for this current arc that we're in. So, that's been the episode. It was a pretty good one. I think I'm just really excited for like what could be happening, because there's a lot of like, okay, that's interesting, but what now? Tell me what's next. The anime is going to be moving a day, so my reviews are also going to be changing, because, you know, the anime changing a day is airing, and then that's also going to change the translation for the subs, and then that's also going to change the reviews here. This one's going up a little late because I was personally a little late to watching the episode, so this will probably be the day that reviews will be on starting in April, just because, you know, it's a new season, so anime is being shifted around over in Japan. Interestingly enough, there are going to be some other cool things I'll be discussing. Hopefully, My Hero Academia, I'll be discussing that on the channel, as well as, of course, Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Some other fun things that I'll be watching and maybe just making one-off videos of. So if you'd like to stick around for all of that, including this brand new arc in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, remember to leave a like and subscribe to show your support. You can leave a comment below to let me know what you thought about this episode and what you think is going to be happening in the next few episodes. If you enjoyed the content, you can also subscribe to stick around and make sure you see each new videos. But anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.